moment alone?
Of course.
Netflix has finally pulled back the curtain on Bridgerton Season 4, and it looks like we're in for something special. Not only has the streamer revealed that the next chapter of the hit Regency-era romance will arrive in 2026, but the season is also promising to finally fix a long-standing issue that's been frustrating fans since the very beginning. So, let's unpack everything we know so far, because this new season might just be the one that changes Bridgerton for good. First off, the release date. Netflix officially announced that Bridgerton Season 4 will be split into two parts, much like Season 3. Part 1 will premiere on January 29, 2026, and Part 2 will follow on February 26th. The announcement came with a stunning teaser that showed glimpses of a glittering masquerade ball, the setting for Benedict Bridgerton's next big romance, featuring Luke Thompson as Benedict and newcomer Yerin Ha as his love interest, Sophie. The teaser, of course, came with that familiar, elegant narration from Julie Andrews, the unmistakable voice of Lady Whistledown herself. This season will adapt An Offer from a Gentleman, the third book in Julia Quinn's beloved series. The story shifts focus to Benedict, the second Bridgerton son, who falls for a mysterious woman at his mother's masquerade ball. The catch? He doesn't know who she is, where she's from, or whether she's even part of the upper-class world he lives in. It's a love story wrapped in mystery and social intrigue, with a setup that feels like Cinderella, only with the unmistakable Bridgerton flair for passion and drama. In the books, Sophie is the illegitimate daughter of an earl who's forced into servitude in her own home by her cruel stepmother. Her night at the Bridgerton ball is the result of careful planning and a desperate need for escape. What follows is a whirlwind romance full of longing, deception, and the kind of steamy chemistry that Bridgerton fans know all too well. This setup makes Benedict and Sophie's story stand out from the ones that came before it because for the first time, there's a real difference in social power between the two leads. It's not just about gender or societal expectations, it's about class, identity, and what it means to truly belong. Luke Thompson said it best in an interview with Tudum, explaining that the fairy tale-like elements bring magic and romance to the series, while still keeping it grounded in something deeply human and relatable. But that's not the only major change coming in Season 4. Showrunner Jess Brownell, who took over during Season 3, revealed that this season won't just take place during the bright and flowery months of spring like previous ones. Instead, it'll also stretch into the autumn months, giving the show a warmer, moodier tone and letting it explore a different kind of visual beauty. That creative decision lines up with the source material. In Quinn's book, there's a notable time jump between Sophie and Benedict's first meeting and their eventual reunion. So, instead of seeing another romance unfold over one glamorous London season, we'll get a story that evolves across time, one that feels a little more mature and emotionally grounded. This expanded timeline also means we'll get to catch up with other familiar faces. Fans can expect to see Penelope and Colin, whose relationship took center stage in Season 3, possibly adjusting to married life, maybe even as new parents. Anthony and Kate are likely to return too, continuing their dynamic as one of the show's most beloved couples. And then there's Eloise and Francesca, who headed off to Scotland at the end of Season 3. Their storylines are bound to take some fascinating turns. Returning cast members include Ruth Gemmell as the Bridgerton matriarch Violet, Adjoa Ando as the ever-wise Lady Danbury, and Golda Rochevelle as Queen Charlotte. Other familiar faces like Hugh Sachs Brimsley and the newly wealthy Mondrick family will also be back. But there's also a new batch of characters joining the drama. Katie Lung will play Sophie's manipulative stepmother, Lady Araminta Gunn, while Michelle Mao and Isabella Way will appear as her daughters, Rosamund and Posey. Together, they'll bring the kind of family tension that will make Sophie's journey even more complicated. Now, as exciting as all this sounds, there's something even more promising about Bridgerton Season 4. It's already being teased as the season that will break one of the show's most annoying patterns, the way Bridgerton tends to push its main couples to the sidelines after their big romantic arcs end. Since 2020, Bridgerton has enchanted audiences with its mix of glamour, scandal, and romance, but it's also developed a frustrating habit. Once a couple gets their happy ending, they basically disappear. Daphne, for instance, was the star of Season 1, but by Season 2, she was little more than a background figure who occasionally popped in to offer advice. Anthony and Kate, who dominated Season 2, were similarly underused in Season 3, off on a honeymoon or mentioned in passing. It's understandable why this happens, because once a love story wraps up neatly, there isn't much drama left to explore without breaking that happily ever after magic. Still, it leaves fans feeling like their favorite couples are being abandoned once the spotlight shifts. But Season 4 is setting up a different approach. For one, Penelope Featherington can't just fade away. Her identity as Lady Whistledown guarantees that she'll stay central to the plot. In Season 3's finale, she vowed to use her gossip column for good, rather than to tear people down. That promise opens up a whole new direction for her character, and it wouldn't make sense to relegate her to the background. Then there's Francesca Bridgerton, who quietly became one of the most intriguing characters in Season 3. Her gentle, reserved nature and new marriage to John Sterling gave viewers something refreshingly different. Her upcoming trip to Scotland, alongside John, Eloise, and the mysterious Michaela, sets up what could be the foundation for her own romantic arc, possibly drawing from Quinn's When He Was Wicked. Whether or not Season 4 becomes her season, it's clear that Francesca's story is far from over. Eloise's move to Scotland also plays a big role here. Having both Francesca and Eloise in the same place ensures that neither character gets lost in the shuffle. In the past, when Francesca was sent off to stay with her aunt, the show almost forgot about her completely. But with two Bridgertons sharing this storyline, their dynamic could make the Scottish setting one of the most exciting parts of the new season. And honestly, it would be a mistake for the writers to push either Francesca or Eloise to the background. Eloise has been one of the show's strongest and most unpredictable characters since the beginning, bold, outspoken, and endlessly curious. Now that she's rediscovering her sense of purpose and social justice, her story feels more vital than ever. Together, she and Francesca could give the show a refreshing blend of independence and emotional growth that Bridgerton hasn't fully explored before. Of course, part of the reason this issue keeps cropping up is that once the main couple achieves their happily ever after, there's not much left to do. Their stories are tied up neatly, and the show naturally wants to shift focus to the next sibling's journey. But even though that logic makes sense, it still feels disappointing. Fans invest in these couples, watching them struggle, grow, and fall in love, only to see them reduced to cameos later. What Bridgerton really needs is a way to keep these couples present in meaningful but balanced ways, giving us glimpses of their evolving lives without overshadowing the new romance at the center. Season 3 took small steps toward this by letting Anthony and Kate appear more than Daphne did in Season 2, but it's still far from perfect. Hopefully, Season 4 will finally find that balance. With Benedict and Sophie's love story bringing something entirely new to the table, the other characters like Penelope, Francesca, and Eloise continuing their own arcs, this could be the most interconnected season yet. It feels like the show is moving toward a broader ensemble approach, one where love stories don't just end, but evolve alongside new ones. And if that happens, Season 4 could end up being one of the most satisfying chapters of the series so far, rich with romance, intrigue, and the kind of character growth that keeps fans coming back for more. So while 2026 might feel far away, there's plenty to look forward to. Between Benedict's artistic awakening, Sophie's fairy tale mystery, and the promise of keeping beloved characters in the spotlight, this next season might finally deliver the balance Bridgerton fans have been waiting 4 long years to see. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.